Does this mana feel too boomer? Can we not fit in fast lands or pathways? So I don't love fast lands with a Growth Spiral Escape to the Wilds game plan. And pathways might be correct, but they're very hard to play with Growth Spiral because you can't choose which side you put into play with Growth Spiral. So I don't feel good enough to play them regardless of whether they are correct or not. I don't know if I have the mental capacity to puzzle that out. I suppose I could play like 2 copies of... what's the name? Prismari Command somewhere. Might be good against the Cat Oven decks too. In addition to just the random affinity lists. Still, I got a lot of removal here. The main thing is that I'm kind of tempted to not use any of the removal right now in the hopes that I can get a 2-for-1 or better with Anger of the Gods. So I think I'm just playing Growth Spiral first. Is Shatterstorm legal? I don't know that any mass artifact destruction is legal. I'm probably not supposed to get too cute, and I'm just supposed to Anger the Gods here. I don't know enough about how the blue-white affinity deck functions to say for sure if they would outscale the Anger of the Gods otherwise. Is that easy Nettle Seist? I do really want to play Narset, but I don't really want to get Narset punched to death by a Nettle Cyst. I have 2 1-drops in the deck the Narset could hit. That doesn't sound acceptable. I think I'm probably just supposed to chill. And the game plan is, end of their turn, if they don't do anything too scary, I just commit the Nettle Cyst. But then again, if I do that, they're probably just going to counterspell whatever I do next. Well, maybe that just means that I commit the Esper Sentinel then. Or, no, I don't actually want to commit the Esper Sentinel. I'd rather commit the Nettle Cyst, I think. But, okay, cool. That actually didn't get countered. Huh, okay. Alright, well that gets rid of 1 creature. Leaves us with a creature that's slightly more annoying to kill, but I can probably live with that. Sword of the Realms. Oh, that's spicy. Okay. No, Relic of Progenitus is good against this Mizzix's Mastery. How annoying. Alright, we'll get rid of Growth Spiral, I guess. Land. Okay. I sort of feel like I'm just supposed to let the opponent draw a card, play Narset, and stomp the Esper Sentinel. That feels like the best option here. Alright, do not mind a Magma Opus if the opponent ever taps out again with the Relic. It's nice to have the option. Then we get to play Bonecrusher Giant to protect the Narset. Narset is pretty solid against the opponent's deck if we manage to protect it. And currently we have enough removal that it looks like that'll be possible. So I think the opponent has to leave up Relic of Progenitus here because we're threatening Memory with Narset if they don't exile Memory. and they have to pop Relic in order to do that. So I think we're kind of, as long as they don't have... What? Equip the sword to kill the Narset? Okay, so no. So you still have to pop the Relic, right, opponent? Yeah, I exile the Anger and not the Memory. If I just hit an untap land and cast Memory... Oh, I guess they could have a counterspell in hand now. Could be the plan. Well, I didn't hit the land to cast the Memory. You got off lucky, opponent. You got off lucky. If they had equipped the sword to slay the Narset and then shocked the land in, they also could have played around Magma Opus plus Mizzix's Mastery, yeah. Alright, so I can't Magma Opus Mizzix's Mastery because they still have mana up with Relic. Am I supposed to shock? Or am I supposed to sack the Narset? I don't think so, although I do have 4 lands in the deck that the Narset could hit. And getting closer to hardcasting these Magma Opuses would be appealing. Also, we have Escape to the Wilds in the list, huh? I can Mastery Commit, I can't Mastery Memory, and also they would just crack the Relic in response. I think I'm probably supposed to downtick this Narset. Alright, Commit's not terribly useful, but not terribly useless. Nettle Assist is gonna be a 4/4, which makes Dragonfiring it kind of annoying. Still, I think I'm supposed to use my mana efficiently here, which means playing the Bonecrusher, and then try and hold up Scorching Dragonfire. Or rather, the Nettle Assist is gonna be a 3/3, except they can animate Blinkmoth Nexus to turn it into a 4/4 in response to Scorching Dragonfire as removal. I exile a Narset, yet. We could chill, but then the opponent's kind of progressing their board, and with our Narset gone, they can resolve a card draw spell, which wouldn't be stellar. Alright, Nettle Assist with the Treasure Vault is very large. Thought Monitor. Oh, but the opponent tapped out. Okay. So, no land drop? Sweet, no land drop. Alright, that makes this easier. Would like to cycle this Magma Opus. 6 mana. Would like to play this Magma Opus. Let's see. I only need to deal 1 damage to this Germ token to kill it with the Dragonfire here, I believe, is how this works. Yeah. We even hit a land drop, so I don't have to sack my treasure. And then we get to kill the 3/3 and actually get in at our opponent's face, and now we actually have a board. I kind of like this. Yeah, Relic can tap to exile a card of our choice for free, or can pay 1 and sack to exile everything, and it doesn't care whether it's tapped or not to do that. Which makes the Mizzix's Mastery plays awkward. Yeah, Big Esper Sentinel's annoying. I'll exile a Scorching Dragonfire from the graveyard, sure thing. Once again, the opponent's tapped out, but I don't have a way to punish them for that. Well, I mean, I guess I actually do, sort of. Not in a way that punishes them for tapping out of the Relic, but in a way that punishes them for tapping out of counterspells. Which is to say, we're just gonna kind of repeat last turn again. Opponent does get to draw a card, which, you know, they're probably excited about. I get to draw 2 cards, though, which I'm pretty excited about. They get to put the creature back in hand. It draws them a bunch of cards. Good news is that costs them a ton of mana. They have more portal holes to deal with tokens. Alright. Kudos, opponent. Forcing the opponent to crack the relic does have value. They just don't seem particularly interested in getting that card or actually exiling the memory. Which, to be fair, other than the one turn they took a massive risk, seems to have been the correct decision most of the time. Yeah, I will exile Commit to Memory and leave the Magma Opus in the yard, opponent. I assume if I attack with Bonecrusher here, they end up blocking with Esper Sentinel? Yeah, because it goes back to their hand with Sword of the Realms. Anger of the Gods is not the answer we were looking for. I have 2 other Stomps in the deck that go at face. I assume I'm supposed to trade off Bonecrusher Giant to stop them from drawing a card here? Well, no, because they're probably going to be able to counter Escape to the Wilds no matter what. I could just commit the sword, pay 3, they counter that. Oh, no. I can pay... Their counterspell is a... Force me to pay 3. It's a mana leak. It's not actually... Yeah, okay. Then I just attack here and trade off with the Esper Sentinel so they don't get to draw a card. It's awkward to play my land drop before the Escape to the Wilds, but I think we're going to be so far ahead on cards that we don't really mind. That we might have theoretically slightly less value out of this Escape to the Wild on average. Oh, well, we also got 0 lands, so that's kind of awkward. Alright, well, we Growth Spiral. Oh wait, can I play this Jwari Disruption as a land? I think I can. That'll be helpful. Alright, found a land. Perfect. Jwari Disruption as a land. Beautiful. Okay, never mind. No flaws. Never any problems whatsoever. Esper Sentinel, sure. We're going to let the opponent draw a card off of that, and then probably Scorching Dragonfire it. But I would rather do that after they have passed to the end of turn, and after they equip something with Sword of the Realms. And again, I could just plan to Anger the Gods everything at sorcery speed. That's also an option. No, I probably can't do that, because I think my plan is to Magma Opus here. Kinda gotta get that value. 4 and 4. Problem with that, they do get to counterspell the Magma Opus unless I draw an untapped land. Alright, let's get rid of Bonecrusher Giant. I could Scorching Dragonfire the Esper Sentinel here. Yeah, well, I definitely have to do it in response to this. So they could try to counter my Scorching Dragonfire. They elect not to. Okay. Untap land? No, just a Bonecrusher. Bummer. Okay, well. Untap land for lethal because they decided to shock would have been cool. So what are we going to do instead? If I Magma Opus their face, they have to counter it. Then I have 2 mana. And I guess I stomp their face? Alternatively, I could leave the Magma Opuses in exile. I'm probably not supposed to do that. How close am I to dead? I guess I'm not going to die if this doesn't work. Because I can always stomp the Thought Monitor. Which does make Stomp a good draw. Not as good as Untapped Land, that would have been lethal, but still good. Jwari Disruption also would have been lethal. Yeah, there's the Rebuke. That's a bummer. Yeah, I think I gotta go to Thought Monitor here. Too much risk that the Nettle Cyst equipping to it kills me otherwise, which is a pain because it means that I'm giving them a 1-mana draw 2. Still, we have the Anger of the Gods, we have an Escape to the Wilds. That Relic of Progenitus is really causing problems. Let's get rid of Scorching Dragonfire. Opponent draws many cards, down to 1 blue source. Okay. Grafdigger's Cage, amusing, but doesn't do anything against our deck, I don't think. Shadow Spear, and still holding up a counterspell. Okay. Another land, but not a blue source. Grafdigger's Cage. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we are currently dead to Blinkmoth Nexus, other than that we have Commit to answer that. There's the Breeding Pool. 1 turn too late to be lethal. Alright, I think we start with Anger of the Gods, and I think I need to hold up Commit for the Nettle Cyst to stop Blinkmoth from killing me. And I think I want to hold it up through Mystical Dispute. Sentinel, sure. That does resolve. Okay, tapping the Blinkmoth meaning not going for lethal. If they had left at the Blinkmoth Nexus, I wouldn't have the option to commit the Nettle Cyst here, but since they didn't, I think I can just commit the Nettle Cyst here. I think I pay for this 1, because now that they don't have a hasty threat up, if they counter this commit, I think I'm actually happy about that. Because that's a counterspell that they don't have in hand. Sure, Smith. How many counterspells is the opponent likely to have right now, Oh, that's an extremely good sign for me that they're not holding up Relic of Progenitus mana currently. I would absolutely love to exile a Growth Spiral. So I have a huge number of lethal hits here. Magma Opus is lethal. Well, Magma Opus was a lethal draw. It's not going to be lethal off escape. Any copy of Mizzix's Mastery that we still have 3 of left in the deck is lethal. Yowzas! Alright, so I have 2 land drops to make here. I have a 3rd if I cast the Escape to the Wilds. So if I play the other Escape to the Wilds, I need to hit Mizzix's Mastery and an untap land. I've used 2 Bonecrushers already, so there's no way that I can hit lethal with Bonecrushers. Yeah, I think that means I just cast the other Escape to the Wilds. There's Mizzix's Mastery, untap land. Okay. 1 land drop. 2 land drop, 3 land drop, Mizzix, Magma Opus. Magma Opus my opponent's face. Tap down some stuff. Alright. They should not have given me that opening, but I am very happy that they did. Alright. Now for the much, much, much harder part, which is winning post-board. Turns out that Escape to the Wild is still insane card draw. Yeah, it is very nice to be able to pay 10 mana to look 10 cards deep and get back 3 of the mana that you spent. I don't really know how our removal stacks up against them, to be honest. I used to love playing against this deck with blue-black, but I get the feeling that's not going to be the case here. So I definitely don't want Arasta. I know I want 4 Mystical Disputes. That's kind of, without question, going to be the case. What do we cut? I don't actually want to cut Narset. I could be convinced to cut Anger of the Gods, but I don't think I'm supposed to. I probably am supposed to trim some number of Mizzix's Mastery and Magma Opuses here. And then, like, bring in Gargaroths. Probably, like, all the Gargaroths, and then trim a Commit to Memory. I feel like they're probably going to be too heavy on relics, but I guess they did play Relic wrong there. Am I supposed to play around them not learning their lesson? Probably not. I think this is what I'm supposed to trim down to. I don't think I scale into the late game as well as them, unless I have a Narset on board, though. So maybe I'm supposed to more aggressively hold on to the Narset than I did in that game. So we took out the Adventure Package. We're playing kind of a different deck from last night entirely. This is what I would call a very bad hand, but it's got 3 lands, so I'm going to keep. Oh, yeah, how they were highlighting our lands. Did they stop when I hit the lethal off escape? I didn't notice. Alright, 1-drop colorless land. Into Vault Scourge. Okay. Play a Ketria Triome. So let's hit Mizzix's Mastery or Growth, or not Mizzix's Mastery. Magma Opus or Growth Spiral would be ideal. Did that command not work? Huh, I could have sworn. Huh, I thought I set that up the other day. Bummer. Well, yeah, anyway. I do try to use gender-neutral terms to refer to the opponent. I figure it makes everybody more comfortable. I've got to check what I set that for, because admittedly, I set it up while I was like super sleepy, so maybe I just totally messed it up and typoed something. Definitely possible. Do I want to get rid of the artifact, or no? I probably want to get rid of the thing that gets big. I guess I could have gotten rid of the thing that flies, but well, maybe we got Gargaroth to answer that. What do you think the best deck in Historic is? I don't play it much, but I'm qualified for the Mythic Qualifier this weekend. I can't really give a super good answer to that, because I haven't played Historic much until yesterday, and I'm not totally sure what the metagame looks like. I sort of suspect the best deck is probably Phoenix, but I also think it's the deck that the most amount of players are prepared to target. Okay, opponent, you want to counterspell this Narset for me? I would really like you to counterspell this Narset instead of my Gargaroth. Thank you. I appreciate it. Alright, well, we're not blocking flyers, so let's attack. Phoenix kind of gets farmed by Squirrel Combo and Cat. I don't think that Phoenix gets farmed by Squirrel Combo, does it? I don't think that if you play Phoenix well, it gets farmed by Squirrel Combo. Squirrel Combo is not super resilient to low-cost removal, and Phoenix has plenty of that between Aether Gust and the 1-mana red spells that all interrupt the combo. I think a lot of people will be doing the same thing, so you can assume a big influx of players playing top-tier aggressive strategies. Yeah, that usually tends to be at least very much the day one meta on any of these qualifiers. A lot of players who don't play the format picking up decent oh, this is bad. Picking up very strong linear strategies. If I play my Elder Gargaroth here and it gets countered, I do just lose the game, which would be a problem that I don't really want to have happen. I could just jam Escape to the Wilds. I'm probably supposed to jam Escape to the Wilds. Alright, let's start with Bonecrusher Giant. There's definitely a risk that I wind up dying because I'm not playing the Elder Gargaroths fast enough, but who knows. This priority isn't necessarily a counterspell, it could just be the activated ability of Shadow Spear, but they did have Rebuke, so I did successfully bait that out. Ideally, we hit an untapped Painless land, so I get to play Gargaroth with Mystical Dispute backup. Blink Moth. Okay, so that's 7 damage. Come on, untap Painless Land. I would love to be able to block something here. One card left in hand for the opponent. We draw Bonecrusher. Could Stomp Thopter, take 4 damage in the air. That's not actually a super acceptable outcome, is it? Graveyard includes just an escape, not acceptable. Alright, no counterspell, opponent. Okay, Gargaroth in play. Do they have some way of getting lethal if they rearrange their equipments? I don't think so, not through the Gargaroth. But they could definitely be playing Aether Gust here. Yeah. Reverse Engineer draws a lot of cards. Don't love that. Yeah, tapping the equipment that doesn't care about being tapped for improvise feels super good, doesn't it? Less good is tapping Treasure Vault for improvise, but does feel cute. Okay, are you sure, opponent? Well, I will block here and choose to gain 3 life so as not to die. What's the follow-up to this plan? You successfully threw away a creature and did 1 damage. Okay. I feel like that was fine for me. I'm gonna just gain more life then. And then I think I'm just gonna remove more of their creatures. Probably the Thought Monitor over the Vault Scourge, because Shadowspear is giving whatever they attack with lifelink anyway. Bonecrusher. I don't think I'm supposed to hold up Hardcast Mystical Dispute, because I probably can't do anything about that anyway, but alright, we got there. Yeah, I don't know if that was strictly optimal play, but I do appreciate any match where I play a Gargaroth and win. And I do feel like, at the very least, playing out the Narset and Escape to the Wilds the way I did to bait out counterspells did successfully make the Gargaroth actually happen. So I can claim some ownership of that win, I think. Okay, Flameblast Bolt and Jwari Disruption are cards, and then we just hope we're playing against Phoenix, I guess. That works. Steam Vents is correct to lead on, so we can hold up Jwari Disruption without pain. Bag of Holding. Wait, but this isn't Red-Black Luris. Okay. Well, something interesting is afoot. I mean, I'm assuming it's not Red-Black Luris because they don't have Luris. Is this big red? Maybe? I suppose that could play Bag of Holding. Sarkhan. Okay, it's something. It's definitely something. Oh, this isn't even the new 4-mana Sarkhan. Huh. Now that's very wild. I feel like I'm probably supposed to play Narset over Arasta here, in the interest of trying to find like a Magma Opus to go big fast. No Magma Opus, but we do have Mizzix's Mastery. That probably isn't helpful, so I guess I take Growth Spiral? Definitely some kind of dragons. Agreed. Townraiser Tyrant. I guess I have an Arasta for that. Decline. Jwari Disruption. There's the Magma Opus. Alright, well, let's kill a Townraiser Tyrant. My opponent's Bag of Holding, I don't think is super excellent at the moment. Not as long as there's a Narset in play. But opponent's probably going to start playing Goldspan Dragons, if I had to guess, and that probably kills Narset. Terror of the Beaks. Oh, well, alright, that's not scary. Decline, I'd like to keep my mana around. Combat. Swing for 4. Land drop. So I could Anger the Gods and Flame Blast the Terror. I'm probably supposed to do that. Alternatively, I could play Arasta. Still Flame Blast the Terror? That's not actually good, is it? Alright. Well, we're taking some damage here then. Hopefully the opponent runs into Jwari Disruption now. Opponent does not run into the Jwari Disruption, and in fact just plays Inferno of the Star Mounts. It is sort of running into Jwari Disruption, but not actually. Okay. Matters have become complicated. We will sacrifice the Steam Vents at this point. I don't have a lot of good answers to flying 6/6s, unfortunately. So we may just be losing to that. On the other hand, maybe... Oh, that doesn't really work, opponent. I still get a chump blocker. Alright, Arasta gone. I guess they could have a second Dragonfire here is the idea. Probably. Or they didn't read Arasta, one of the two. Moonveil Regent. I would like that to not be in play. Unholy Heat does answer Inferno, that's true. Do I have anything in my deck other than Arasta that interacts positively against Inferno? I don't think I have any reason to cycle this Ketria Triome now. Wait, I actually have a deck list. Commit. Huh. Would I rather try to commit the Inferno than cycle Ketria Triome? There is Magma Opus, but I can't actually do anything with that right now. I would have to hit Mizzix's Mastery to get it. I suppose I would rather commit the Inferno, so I think that makes it worth cycling the Ketria Triome over playing the Arasta. I don't believe I'm supposed to hold this. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I don't think bluffing in this position matters. It's 2 less life if I want to cast a Magma Opus or a kicked Mizzix's Mastery next turn. Alright, so odds are pretty good that we win if we draw Magma Opus here. Opponent does not draw a card because of Narset. We draw land. Bummer. An attempt was made. 6/6, too strong. Okay. So we definitely want Aether Gust, and we definitely want Gargaroths. We don't really want Anger of the Gods, or Scorching Dragonfire, or Flame Blessed Bolts. Technically, we don't not want Arasta. Opponent's probably playing Whelp in their deck. I feel like... Am I supposed to care about that? The largest justification Whelp would cause would be that it would make me want to play Bonecrusher Giant. Am I supposed to value that over Arasta? Probably. Maybe. Maybe not. Arasta's a 3/5. They have to kill it or else it blocks 4/4s forever. I think I'm supposed to keep the Arastas. Maybe I get rid of something like Narset, although Narset's good against Sarkhan and the other card draw engines they have. I think I care about Whelp a little bit because so much of my removal package is going to be Aether Gust, and Whelp is pretty good against Aether Gust. Because eventually they just start playing like 2 or 3 dragons a turn if we keep resetting their top decks of already discounted dragons. Still, I don't think I can justify keeping Bonecrusher when it has the least viable targets. I think Narset finding Aether Gusts is probably still important enough to keep 3 of them. Maybe I don't need that much card advantage, but I think I want it. Hint has 2 Elder Gargaroths, meaning that if it manages to get to 5 mana, we're probably fine. We have 1 Aether Gust, we're on the draw, we have, what, 28 lands in the deck? But nothing helps us get there. Other than, I guess, Mizzix's Mastery makes it kind of okay to draw a Magma Opus. I could also discard and Escape to the Wilds to hand size if we miss land drops for a long enough period of time, and then Mizzix's Mastery that back, which isn't exciting. I think I'd keep this on the draw. I'm not convinced I'm supposed to keep it on the play. I think 2 Elder Gargaroths is too much of a payoff. I think that means that I have to take this risk. Alright, 1 land is good. That's a start. Is there a reason this deck doesn't run Expressive Iteration? I think the curve on it is way too high to be running Expressive Iteration. There's the Fearsome Whelp. And you see his concern. Could Aether Gust the Fearsome Whelp. I'm probably supposed to? Considering it hasn't triggered yet. More lands is lovely. I could even Mizzix's Mastery and Aether Gust here if I really... Well, I'm definitely going to Mizzix's Mastery and Aether Gust for a Sarkhan. Oh, Sarkhan makes mana and immediately casts Whelp, huh? Okay. Yeah, I missed that. Huh. Okay, well, Growth Spiral changes things, because I think I need to try to maximize my chances of hitting the 5th land and just curve out Gargaroths from here. Orb. Okay. I don't care about that at all. So they're playing a 3-drop dragon here? Moonveil Regent. Yes. Growth Spiral. Narset. Alright, that's bad. Untap land. Arasta. That's not good. Very nearly got there, but it's definitely going to be tricky to win. Best case scenario, we hit another land and get to curve out Gargaroths, and I think that's probably still good enough currently. Townraiser Tyrant's not going to help.
I will call the dragons.
Yeah, that's 3 mana. It's Ketria Triome, presumably. Yep. Pithing Needle. I guess Narset is a card that's in my deck that they can name with Pithing Needle? Do I have any other cards in my deck that are nameable with Pithing Needle? Other than Narset? I don't think so. Oh, fair. Nissa. Yeah, not a card in my deck, but a reasonable card to try to name. Huh. Do I want to take 4 extra damage here? Or I guess actually 3 extra damage here. I can either take 1 or 4. But like, killing the Fearsome Whelp is probably worth taking 3 extra damage? I think? Yeah, I think so. Alright, we're gonna have to hit the untap land here. We're gonna have to very hit the untap land here. Nope, 4th Gargaroth. That's not helpful at all. Create 4 5/5 dragon creature tokens with flying, huh? Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Aether Gusting the Town Razor Tyrant sounds awful. Aether Gusting the Sarkon doesn't sound good. Aether Gusting the Moonveil Regent isn't great. If I don't Aether Gust the Sarkon, they just defend an ultimate Sarkon. If I Aether Gust the Town Razor Tyrant, I can attack the Sarkon, but then my lands are burning for more. I think I've got to Aether Gust the Sarkon then. I don't think I've got other options here that are actually palatable. Okay, Sarkon on top. I take 6 damage, go down to 5. No attackers. I think this is, at the moment, still winnable if we hit an untapped land, but I need the opponent to not, like, Town Razor Tyrant me again or something. So it's going to be tricky. Sarkon. Okay, don't really care about that. Card in hand the opponent wants to keep means probably a 5-drop dragon. No. They would have cast a 5-drop dragon before now, I thought. Oh, no, okay. Opponent says they would not have. Okay, untap land. No, that's a tap land. Alright, so block a dragon, go down to 1, sack a land, draw an untap land, play a Gargaroth. Yowzers. Well, it's technically possible. I think I take the Aether Gust. Definitely technically possible if the opponent doesn't have anything that they can play here. Nope, they got a Fearsome Whelp for lethal. Dang that buff. Why'd they have to buff Fearsome Whelp and kill me? Ah, well. Yeah. I think if we had drawn the untap land on any of those turns, we would have won the game. But, what you gonna do? To be fair, the opponent had a lot of opportunities to loot there if there wasn't an Narset in play, so even if we had played the Gargaroth, there was still a possibility we could have lost. The Narset was restricting the opponent's options, which, you know, they can uptick Sarkon and possibly get like a Goldspan Dragon? Actually, is Goldspan Dragon even lethal there? I was at 5. Gargaroth blocks Tyrant. Arasta blocks Moonveil. Goldspan does... Yeah, no, we probably would have won. Probably would have won through just about anything. I guess Burning Hands is something they could have looted into that would have beaten us. I don't really think this is keepable. If this mana was capable of cycling Magma Opus, I think I'd keep it, but Forest is literally the only land in our entire deck, I believe, that can't cycle a Magma Opus. Unfortunate. Yeah, so I think that gives that a mulligan. Yowzers. Alright, well, I think this is probably worth keeping. I think we probably get rid of the Narset. We're on the draw. Oh, well, I'm very glad I got rid of the Narset. Okay, well, if we've drawn Narset, then I'm playing the Jwari Disruption as a land. Alright, well, Magma Opus is a good draw. I don't know if it punished me for the... No, I guess I was going to have to shock a land here unless we drew a land no matter what. Oh, opponent. You're representing so many counterspells, and that makes me annoyed. Can I afford to just jam Mizzix's Mastery into an Archmage's Charm? I don't believe so. I don't even think that Mizzix's Mastering a Magma Opus is particularly good against most blue control decks. I think I'm shocking Narset in here. I'm still holding up Jwari Disruption if the opponent tries to commit this. That'd probably be worthwhile. I can also Disruption a Memory Deluge. Commit. Alright, I believe that's probably worth using a Disruption on. Alright, and somehow we're actually taking the lead. I mean, Magma Opus is tempting, but Growth Spiral is probably going to be easier to resolve and actually get value out of. Bang House and Vader Beef, thanks for following. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Alright, well, that's Narset. Mastery is going to be more useful than Anger, but I'm annoyed that I gave them the knowledge that we're going to care about that. I could try to jam Escape to the Wilds here. I think I'm supposed to Growth Spiral and then Mizzix's Mastery. My logic for that is that I think I want to get a counterspell out of my opponent's hand. Hopefully they make a mistake and counter this Mizzix's Mastery. Sweet. Which means that the Magma Opus is still in the yard. You're supposed to let the Mastery resolve and then copy or counter the copy so that it actually gets the Magma Opus out of my yard. Missed the end of yesterday. Did we give up on Clover? Well, I mean, I'm just kind of trying to try out a bunch of different decks that are, I suppose, all teamer. It didn't really go bad with Adventures, but it didn't go stellar either. The matchup against Phoenix didn't feel great. I don't know that I can beat my opponent having Gearhulk here, unfortunately. So I think I just have to hope they don't have Gearhulk specifically. Wow! Alright, they don't have anything. Sweet! That's the best news I've heard all day. I should have shocked and held up Bonecrusher plus Flameless Bolt in case they cycle a Shark Typhoon here. Instead, I guess I'm just playing Bonecrusher, but yeah, that was a minor error. We'll see if we get punished by it. In an ideal situation, I kill the 4/4 and stop them from attacking my Narset with it, but yeah. Didn't think about that in time. Burns Red 37 and Max Tax 8. Thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Okay, so they didn't have a counterspell last turn. Do you have a counterspell this turn, opponent? You're going to be extremely disappointed if you don't. Alright, let's find out. I'm definitely playing around Jwari Disruption. What you got for me, opponent? Okay. Well, Jwari Disruption, not good enough. Okay, what order are we doing this in? Growth Spiral last. Then... I don't know if this matters. Then this. Oh wait, actually, I probably want to hit that 4/4, don't I? I feel like I'm probably ahead now. And I'm not going to cast that Disruption. Okay, 4/4 is gone. Resolve and Escape to the Wilds. Some of those are useful cards. Resolve a Growth Spiral. Sure. How many land drops am I going to get here? I think I get one more land drop plus this Growth Spiral, so I'm going to have 3 mana, not enough to play the Arasta. Which means this comes in tapped. I should probably be conscientious of my life total here, so this also comes in tapped. I don't super need to care about my life total, but I do probably want to a little bit. Divine Purge. Huh. How does that work against against adventure creatures? Both sides cost 2 more, huh? Yeah, Narset was the thing I was kind of worried about. Flameless Bolt. Opponent, I don't actually like draw cards very much, but okay. I will just choose to kill the Narset. Let's kill the Narset, and then Magma Opus the opponent. We lose the Arasta. I'm sure we're very sad. Yeah, alright. We have drawn a lot of cards and put a lot of land into play, so that bit of this is fun. Divine Purge! No, my token! Opponent! How could you? Narset. Okay, does this one downtick? Yes. So then we get to Scorching Dragonfire it. A Teferi? Oh no. What do I got in my graveyard? 1 Magma Opus with Mizzix's Mastery? And that's not the most exciting, is it? Still, probably the correct thing to do. Cycle first? Cycle first. If I could Growth Spiral and then kick it, yeah, it's probably better than Bonecrushering this turn. Growth Spiral first, then Magma Opus at the face. How many removal spells for 4/4 tokens do you have, opponent? Ooh, commit sounds fun. Alright, let's play the Steam Vents. Tapped. Should I play more land drops? I do think I probably need more mana. And I don't think I'm going to have enough mana to cycle this Ketria Triome anytime soon. Alrighty. Opponent untaps. That probably means we win, I think. I would like to reduce your life total to 4, opponent. Seal away. Would like to commit that, opponent. I'd like your life total to be 4. Thank you. Then I would like to burn spell you with Magma Opus. Did we just do 16 damage with Magma Opuses in a single game? I believe the answer to that is yes. I mean, technically 20 if you count the Magma Opus token as well, but I don't know, 16 damage direct to the dome. It's probably not true. I think we hit with the Bonecrusher most likely. Because I remember at least one of the Magma Opuses went at a shark. I'm not entirely certain how many of those Magma Opuses we actually resolved. Okay, Flameless Bolts, Scorching Dragonfires, Angers out, Arastas out, play Mystical Disputes, play Ceratopses. Okay, then what? I guess we need one more card for this matchup, maybe? Am I, like, supposed to play Arasta? I don't think I'm supposed to play Arasta. I could play Flamevest Bolt or Scorching Dragonfire, technically, but it's probably not, like, good. I could play Gargaroth, but that's kind of weak against Teferi. And they're probably boarding into Aether Gusts anyway. Scorching Dragonfire for Narset versus Arasta for just being a random creature. I guess I'm probably supposed to keep the Scorching Dragonfire in over that. Okay, well, we do have rules around here, and those rules say that you're not allowed to mulligan 2 lands and the ability to play Growth Spiral on turn 2. Not even when it's 6 lands in a Growth Spiral. And this is better than 6 lands in a Growth Spiral. Opponent's upkeep would like to cast this Growth Spiral. Opponent would like it to resolve. So generous are they. Ooh. Yeah, that's not exciting for the opponent, huh? I'm probably just supposed to jam Shifting Ceratops and not really care if it gets Aether Gusted, and be extremely happy if it doesn't get Aether Gusted. So is this the part where you concede, opponent? Or not yet? Alright. Combat attack. Okay. Well, I'll play a Narset. I presume that gets countered? Not gonna lie, I'm a little out of it with Ceratops lately. I feel like the Lotus Blue-White deck deals with it relatively easily these days. It's not, like, impossible for them to answer. It's not a free win, in the sense that it used to be. But it is still very, very good, and requires them to have answers to it. And I don't know if there's a better tool for that job, necessarily. It does attack Planeswalkers really well as well. I would say we're not at a point where Shifting Ceratops is just like a card you put in your sideboard that automatically wins the matchup, in the sense that it used to be, but it is still like the best thing you can probably be doing. I think I stomp my opponent's face here and then play Bonecrusher. If they countered the stomp to try to get card advantage, I would have played the Narset. But they didn't, so we got 2 free damage. And I would rather them counter a Bonecrusher Giant than counter the Narset, I think. Well, not technically in this spot, I guess, with their life total being the way it was, but I couldn't play the Bonecrusher Giant that turn if I let on Narset, so yeah. Opponent's mana base is really biting them here, huh? Field of Ruin is a card with costs included in it. Alright, this is why we included basics in the deck. It is nice to not be punished for that. The opponent decided to get more blue mana. Oh goodness, opponent. Oh goodness. Alright. So opponent needs to answer Shifting Ceratops here, huh? Alright, well, we'll play Narset. Narset resolves. Oh, Magma Opus sounds fun. That's lethal and whatnot if we ever resolve it targeting the opponent's face. Would you say the Historic meta is as open as Standard or Alchemy, or is there an established Tier 1? I would certainly say that I think that I don't have as good an understanding of that as I do for other formats. Narset. Oh, okay. I guess I don't have triple green, so I can't actually instantly kill them with the Ceratops off the top. I could cycle Magma Opus, though. Aether Gust. Bummer. Alright, well, I'm going to resolve and escape to the wilds here. That seems like that's probably good. Alright. Stomp the opponent's face. That sounds like fun. Opponent down to 1. Ooh, more Magma Opuses. Lovely. I would say that defining what an open metagame is a little tricky. Because to some people that can mean a metagame that is easy to brew into. Okay, I'm going to play the Bonecrusher Giant. They're probably going to Aether Gust it, and then I kill him with the Mizzix's Mastery. And I don't think it's super easy to brew in Historic. It's kind of difficult to brew in any format that has a decently high power level. Okay, so then their plan is to Teferi the Bonecrusher, I would suppose. That works for me. Let's play the Escape to the Wilds. I don't mind them Aether Gusting that. You do kind of have to Aether Gust that opponent, unless you want to use like a Jwari Disruption on it. I'd say there are more decks that can have a solid laddering experience in Historic than the other two formats. I don't know if that's the case compared to... I don't know. Honestly, all of the formats are in a pretty good open spot right now. I'm just a lot less confident in my judgment on... That doesn't work. Oh, I guess they can counter the Stomp is the idea? Okay. Well, how many counter spells do you have, opponent? Every format has a lot of decks in it that are viable right now, I think. Okay, Dovin's Veto. Land drop. Cycle Magma Opus. Cast Mizzix's Mastery on Magma Opus. 1 damage, 2 damage. Tappity. Oh, alright, we're done. Alright, Magma Opus for lethal against control decks all day long. You'll love to see it. It turns out all you need to do is draw more cards than the control deck has counterspells and you win. Okay, now we're actually recording. Though we're a little late into it. Okay, Goblin Ruin Blaster. This is not apparently a Phoenix list, necessarily. Okay. Well, I'm still cycling this Magma Opus. I'm just casting Escape to the Wilds a turn later. Flame Blessed Bolt. Huh? Okay. Well, Bonecrusher Giant blocks Goblin Ruin Blaster is the plan. 1 terabyte SSDs are under 100 now. Really? And they're readily available? Do SSDs not use microchips? Because I thought we were in the middle of a microchip shortage. That's actually interesting to hear. Oh. Do we think the opponent's on counter spells here? I think I got the fear in me. I could just hold up Commit plus Flame Blessed Bolt. They're playing Stormcarved Coast. Does Phoenix do that? Alright, opponent, I'm afeared. Attack with Bonecrusher. Block? Oh, okay. So now do I jam Escape to the Wilds? Because the opponent's clearly saying that they're going to burn spell Bonecrusher Giant? Solid state drive manufacturers run their own fabs. Huh. So is the shortage not due to a shortage of raw materials then? Supply chain stuff like that's fascinating. I do wish I actually understood more about it in depth. Alright. Given that the opponent made that block, I'm willing to play the Escape to the Wilds here. Because it means that if they counter the Escape to the Wilds, then they don't kill the Bonecrusher Giant. And that's all pretty good. Well, I'm probably not casting this Magma Opus next turn, and unfortunately I can't cycle it. But I do get to cast this Mizzix's Mastery to get back the Escape to the Wilds, so that's kind of fun. Yeah, there's the Unholy Heat. That's not terribly surprising. Is there a reason to use an SSD for storing videos? I mean, I guess if you didn't have a hard drive, that would be an incentive. But I do. I did not get rid of it when I got my SSD. Oh, I got a Magma Opus too? Huh. Yeah, but Magma Opus isn't Escape to the Wilds, though. What happened in Temur Adventures? I didn't want to play the same thing. Oh, wow, that would be so bad for me. I didn't want to play the same thing every night. So, trying something a little different. It didn't necessarily go bad. It didn't feel as good against Phoenix as I was hoping it might. Oh, another Mizzix's Mastery. Cool. Once again, I don't really think we're doing anything with this Magma Opus, but I do get to kick this Mizzix's Mastery. Oh, well, except that doesn't actually do anything either. Discover the formula. Wow, the opponent's going deep into their wizard? Oh, Shaman Ruin Blaster plus Giant top end, I guess is the game plan that is occurring here. Alright, opponent. You have my respect. With Sublime Epiphany, is this some sort of combo deck then? Gab was messing around with this. Huh. Or another wizard. Yeah. Alright. I guess doubling Ruin Blaster is sort of like pretty interesting. Although I don't think that it's super good against Mass Escape to the Wilds deck. Huh. Alright, well, for now I think I'm just kind of chilling. I don't really need to jam Escape to the Wilds when I can just hold up infinity counter spells. Could be wizards. Is it wizards? Well, it's definitely at least shamans. I think Ruin Blaster is probably the most reasonable card for them to Harmonic Prodigy. Kicker. What are the mechanics on Kicker? When you copy a Goblin Ruin Blaster, it doesn't remember whether the original permanent was kicked, right? Unless you copy it on the stack. But copying on play with Sublime Epiphany, I don't think would re-trigger that. I guess you could copy more Harmonic Prodigies, though? Partially the idea. Spice is the blue spell cost reducing wizard. Oh, Geist Channeler for Discover the Formula in Sublime Epiphany? Doubling it to reduce it by 4. Okay, I follow. That sort of tracks. Alright. I am actually going to shock here, because when I Flame Blessed Bolt this Ruin Blaster, I want to have Commit plus Jwari Disruption up. I don't know why I care about having Jwari Disruption up. That's actually not going to make a difference here. If they play a 6-mana spell... no, I guess it does. If they like Jwari Disruption or something... no. That just actually wasn't likely to make much of a difference, was it? Oh well. Who needs life points? What do those even do? They're only here to get thrown away. Nah. Let's just hold up mana. That's the plan. Know Nothing Gaming and Just Do It Buck. Thanks for the follows. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Two red. Okay. We're gonna kick another Ruin Blaster? Yes, apparently. How many Ruin Blasters is that? 3. That feels like a lot more than that. But I guess I've only lost 2 lands. I don't really want to lose more lands if I can help it. But I also don't really care. I guess I'd rather use a commit here than a Scorching Dragonfire that can hit Den of the Bugbear. 5 mana available for the opponent. Sublime Epiphany? Oh no! Well, we're gonna commit that. Then we're gonna cast Escape to the Wilds. Then we're gonna draw a bunch of cards. Then we're gonna play some lands. And I could play an Arasta, or I could play Escape to the Wilds. How many land drops do I got here? I don't think enough to play that Escape to the Wilds. I think I have enough to play Arasta, though. Nope. I lied. Well, we're still holding up the burn spell for the Den of the Bugbear, so I guess that's okay-ish. Probably not terribly ideal, but okay-ish. Draw 10, 7 lands? Yeah, but that's good enough. That's good enough! Alright, there's a Den. I would like to Scorching Dragonfire that. I don't want to Stomp it because Stomp is currently representing lethal. Uh-huh. Oh, so that if they counter something on Den, I don't know. I feel like I'm supposed to Scorching Dragonfire before they have the opportunity to use that in play. Well, Dragon's Rage Channeler chump blocks my 4/4. Or would if Anger of the Gods didn't kill it, I suppose. Stone Rain on their land. Okay. Oh, get Unholy Heat active, opponent. That's so cute. I love it. That was a good play. Alright. Well, Anger of the Gods, clear out the Dragon's Rage Channeler, play an Escape to the Wilds. Should have done this in the other order. Oh well. Play a land. Yeah, play an untap land, why not? Play Narset. Guess I probably could have memoried. I don't think that's actually correct. Mizzix's Mastery, that sounds like fun. We'll do that next turn. And then... Arasta's probably the safest line. We'll see if the opponent top decks a Banefire. Does not look like they top decked a Banefire. Alright, activate Narset. See if we find something helpful. We find a Scorching Dragonfire, that actually is kind of helpful. Attack with Arasta. Put the opponent to dead to stomp range. Shock a Stomping Ground. Overload a Mizzix's Mastery. Opponent tries to use a counterspell on Mizzix's Mastery, and then we stomp him in the face. Boop. Now, kudos to the opponent, though. They did not actually have a great hand, but I do think that they played that pretty well. There were some cool lines in there. Alright, So, lots of blue spells, lots of red annoying things, huh? What am I supposed to do against this? Is it just me, or was that Mastery 20 deck damage? We might have drawn a lot of cards, yeah. But you're allowed to not cast anything you want with Mastery. You're obligated to exile everything, but you can choose not to deck yourself. I mean, I feel like I'm probably supposed to play Mystical Dispute. Okay, so the trouble is right now, I'm kind of debating bringing in all 15 cards, and the other problem is that I kind of like all 60 cards we already have, so I have very no clue what to do right now. I'm guessing Bonecrusher Giant's probably the worst card, and Mystical Dispute's probably the card that's most important to bring in. Arasta's probably less valuable than it is against Phoenix. Okay, Commit's probably not stellar. I think the thing I'm most scared of is probably Ruin Blaster and Stone Rains. So I think that means that I'm supposed to, like, get 2 Aether Gust. I don't know, I could just kill him with Shifting Ceratops, I guess. An option. Good Gargaroth too. Kind of worried the opponent's gonna Aether Gust me, but I don't know. I got no clue what I'm doing. Eats a dead dino. That's true. That's true. Probably shouldn't bring in either dino then and just play more Aether Gusts. Oh well. I got a plan, and my plan is giant Gargaroths. Growth Spiral into Gargaroth is the beginning of a plan. My opponent's a lot more aggressive than I was originally anticipating here. Ooh, no Mystical Dispute. You'll love to see it. Silver, don't listen to me. I'll listen to anybody. I'll stop listening to somebody about as soon as I ever play a game of Magic correctly. Until then, I am willing to take advice. Don't think I play my Narset here. Wow, nothing to do with 2 Dragon's Rage Channelers in play? Radical. Ruin Blaster. Okay. Well, I'm not playing Growth Spiral then, but I am playing a Gargaroth next turn. So let's hope for none of that Aether Gusty nonsense. Ooh, 2 Gargaroths. Alright. You should pass the turn without playing a land to hide information. That one I might have other plans for. I'm sure you played a game of Magic correctly before. If there is one, I haven't seen it. Aether Gust, 4 Dragon's Rage Channeler triggers. That's pretty adorable. I would like top deck Anger of the Gods, but I'm not going to because I'm gonna top deck an Elder Gargaroth. Put on top, yes. Why are you a 2/4? Oh, because you have prowess. Oh, neat. Alright, opponent. You graveyarded 3 cards and kept 1 on top. Oh, it was just a Ruin Blaster? Opponent, what's a Ruin Blaster supposed to do? Opponent? Opponent, I have a Gargaroth. Opponent, you can't just play Goblin Ruin Blaster against a Gargaroth. That doesn't work. I'm gonna draw more cards. I feel like I am happy to have boarded into Gargaroths. I feel like that decision was vindicated. I don't know whether it was correct, but it definitely felt like it was vindicated. Alrighty, what do we got? What do we got? Well, we have Growth Spiral and a 1-drop, so that's a keep. What am I supposed to do about the Jwari Disruption? Combo deck nonsense. I don't think my deck's actually going to be very good against this. It's very tempting to hold on to the Jwari Disruption, but I think I actually need to play it as a land to make Growth Spirals curve out better. And Miss Nissa Krasis Gargaroth Sultai piles too. Yeah. Those are the first decks that ever taught me, you know, maybe Thoughtseize is an acceptable Magic card. Mostly because it, you know, put a card in the yard very quickly for Uro, but it did convince me Thoughtseize was sort of not embarrassing to put in your deck. What's that card for? Someone can explain to me a crab? Hard Evidence. So this deck plays a card called Indomitable Creativity that is triple red X. Target X number of creatures or artifacts. Shuffle them into your... No, exile them, and then reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal that many creatures or artifacts. And then put all of those creatures or artifacts into play. The only things that it plays that card can hit are usually some combo pieces. It varies. It's Sarah's Evangel or Locust God plus Sage of the Falls. Either way, they basically win the game if they do that. And the reason that Hard Evidence is so useful is because it produces a good blocker against an aggro deck. It produces a card that can replace, or it produces a clue you can sacrifice to draw cards against control decks. And when you're trying to get ready to combo off, it's 2 permanents out of 1 card for your combo deck. And also, it isn't a creature or an artifact itself, so it doesn't interrupt the combo either. Alright, so if they Prismari Command here and make a treasure token, they can't go off next turn. I think I probably want to just play Arasta. It's not like that's actually a good card against them, but it is a better use of my turn than doing nothing here. It's just destroy, not exile? Okay. Yeah, so there's the Prismari command, makes a treasure. Wait. No. 4 mana is not enough for them to go off with only 2 permanents. Right. If they still had the clue token, then they could use the treasure this is making for mana and would represent going off next turn. But without the clue token, they can't do that. I do not really have Teferi Time Raveler. Huh. The number of decks still trying to tell whether this card is playable or not is sort of surprising to me. Oh, I so want to jam Escape to the Wilds, but I so can't afford to. Alright. Flame Bless Bolt to Teferi. Alright, then we're just going to hold up Scorching Dragonfire for the 0-3. Is Teferi playable? I've not yet seen a deck that it looked good in. My best guess is that it's probably decent for combo decks. But I mean, I guess if it's good in a deck like this where it protects your combo. I don't know. It never feels like it does enough to justify the 4 mana cost to me. Oh, this is the Sage of the Falls version. Okay, well they just lose the game here then because I have Scorching Dragonfire and Stomp. But I need to remember not to do that now. I need to do that next turn when I have double red. Yeah, they shouldn't be able to win. Unless they have like a counter spell here. And I don't know how they could. Because this deck can't really go off without Sage of the Falls. They could play Locust God and beat me down to death, I guess, from here, is their out. Opponent's playing a deck that's entirely reasonable in best of 3. It is actually pretty resilient post-board, too, because it can board out of this combo against control decks that have a lot of interaction, and just board into, like, Nezahals, or other creatures that are really potent against control decks, but are also super strong if you cheat it into play. Maybe they have multiple Sage of the Falls. They don't, typically. They run exactly one, because they can't risk their combo hitting 2 copies of Sage of the Falls. They need their combo to always hit 1 copy of Locust God, 1 copy of Sage of the Falls. So they can only run 1 of each. Is 4 mana just too slow for Historic with regards to Teferi Time Raveler? I think yes with regards to Historic, but I also think probably even yes in regards to the context of the standard format that it used to be a part of. Okay, so this just grabs Locust God, which might be something that's capable of killing me. I do have an Arasta, which is nice. Ooh, Anger of the Gods means if we top deck a burn spell to kill the Locust God, that's cool too. In the meantime, let's resolve this Escape to the Wilds. Hey, Mizzix's Mastery sounds fun. Not doing anything fun with that this turn, though. I could play Narset? No, I literally can't play Narset. Okay. I could play Bonecrusher Giant to block a Dwarf? Nah, probably not. Let's also play the Stomping Ground. Alright, so next turn we Scorching Dragonfire to Locust God, cast Anger of the Gods. Opponent has, like, no threats left in their deck at that point. I agree that if they have white, generally it's a lot less likely that they're Locust God, but I'm assuming they're splashing white just for the Teferi. And yeah, once we've seen Sage, we're 100% confident they're on Locust God. It might also be that they sideboard into Sage, but I don't... or into Angel, but I don't think that would make sense. Oh, okay. Hardcast Shark Typhoon. Yeah, fair, fair. That's a win con. Alright, opponent, do you have a counter spell? I'm 1 mana short of playing this Mizzix's Mastery with Jwari Disruption backup. Bummer. Alright, well, this is the plan. Growth Spiral, Flame Blast Bolt the Locust God, Scorching Dragonfire the Locust God, Escape to the Wilds. Ooh, Magma Opus. That should be fun. Mizzix's Mastery isn't a land. Anger of the Gods isn't a land. What a bummer. Alright, Scorching Dragonfire, the insect token. Alright, opponent. What's your game plan? It is very weird that the opponent has somehow become an aggro deck that is attempting to kill us before we, the control deck, win the game. By the way, should you be playing Explore? My instinct is to say no, but I don't actually have a reason to justify that. Lets you play Disruption and lands from Escape the Growth Spiral don't. I guess? Maybe that's better? Am I going to experiment with Ninja, Rogues, and Historic after Kamigawa? Maybe? I don't actually know what my plans are going to be. I don't have anything in particular planned. Magma Opus. Dun, 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 dun. Can't really Magma Opus, can I? It's a bummer. I mean, maybe I can. How much mana do I have left? Oh, actually, I have exactly enough to Magma Opus. Sweet. So, I think I'm supposed to Magma Opus first? No. Yes? Anger first? If the opponent counters this Magma Opus, I lose the game. Yeah, I think I'm still supposed to do it. Oh no, I messed up. I was supposed to Magma Opus first. I forgot I could tap down treasures. That's actually a big difference, because it means if they play a 3-drop here, it dies to the Anger of the Gods. I was thinking that I wanted to change my line if they had a counterspell for the Anger of the Gods, but tapping down the treasures is actually way more relevant. Luckily, it looks like they didn't have anything here, so I didn't get punished for it, but yeah, definitely a mistake. Is Fallen Shinobi in Historic? I don't believe so. I think that was from Modern Horizons 1, and we didn't get too many Modern Horizons 1 cards in Historic, other than the stuff that made it into Jumpstart. I always think that Chalice of the Void would be an interesting add to Historic. I think the average CMC of Historic is a little higher than where it needs to be at for Chalice to be, like, a strong card. So I don't suspect that it would see too much play. Chalice is a card kind of like Expressive Iteration, where its power level scales with the power level of other cards in the format. What to do here? What to do? Probably attack with a 4/4 and then pass? I mean, I guess I could play Bonecrusher Giant too. 4/4. No, hold on. I probably want to hold up Magma Opus plus commit. Oh, I can just commit the Shark Typhoon, can't I? Yeah, I'm probably supposed to do that. Boop. I forgot that was a legal target. Okay, well, that simplifies things. Shark Typhoon currently makes a 5/5. Yes, then I believe we pass because I'd like to tap down a 5/5 on their upkeep if they end up making one. They don't. Hard to imagine a format where iteration isn't insane. I mean, that's just standard, isn't it? I don't think iteration has been, like, correct to play in standard at any point in the last, like, 6 months. With the exception of Dragons. It's a good card in Dragons. I do need to remember to say that exception, because I do actually believe that. But the thing about Expressive Iteration is the fewer 1-drops you have in your deck, and the fewer good playable 1 and 2 drops that you want to play on the opponent's turn, the less often Expressive Iteration is a 2-for-1. And if the format is all about combo mirrors, like, you know, the standard format we've had for the last 6 months or whatever, I'll get rid of these two, then the opportunity cost of tapping out for Expressive Iteration is kind of high. For iteration to be good, the format has to be really slow, or it has to have a lot of 0 and 1 drops. It's hard for a format to be really slow and to have enough. I mean, not even necessarily a format to be slow for Expressive Iteration to be good, but, like, Expressive Iteration was good in historic Jeskai control mirrors because it was a 2-for-1, but also because those decks did not play, like, actual things that won the game. They didn't have strong win cons, I guess is the way to put it. So you couldn't punish your opponent for tapping out. You couldn't, like, resolve a Wilderness Reclamation or something. Or, in the case of Standard, when your opponent tapped out for an Expressive Iteration, you got to do Hullbreaker Horror on their instep to tax their mana more, and then you got to untap and Alrund's Epiphany combo them, and they just died because they made the mistake of putting Expressive Iteration in their deck. Is it just me that it's kind of ironic that they spoil Spell Pierce a week after announcing an Alrund's Epiphany ban? I don't know if I would have expected Spell Pierce to make a very big difference against Alrund's Epiphany. Well, yeah, I guess it would have, but mostly because it would have made the mirrors weird. Spell Pierce against Unexpected Windfall would have been a really interesting play pattern to see develop. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Galvanic Unexpected Windfall decks actually come back at some point. The base shell is really strong. It just needs to line up well against the metagame. Spell Pierce strikes me the mirror card? Yeah, I would expect that it would mostly be for mirror cards. It lets you... It changes the dynamic of when you can Unexpected Windfall by a lot. Because there were a lot of time periods where you could cast an Unexpected Windfall, and if your opponent went Unexpected Windfall negate, then you weren't actually, like, too far behind, so it was an acceptable risk to take. But if your opponent actually winds up ahead on mana because they go Unexpected Windfall Spell Pierce, that is, like, awful in a way that would have completely changed how those decks had to function. Yeah, I think this is my game plan. Although I kind of hate Bonecrusher. I wonder if I'm supposed to play something else instead of Bonecrusher. It doesn't actually do anything. Shifting Ceratops is also probably bad, but it does threaten to kill the opponent? I guess I have to kill Teferi. Does Bonecrusher do that? Maybe? Yeah, I don't know. The standard meta is mostly mid-range piles now, right? Yeah, I mean, it depends on what your definition of a control deck versus a mid-range deck is, because I think there's a lot of decks right now that kind of straddle the line. But generally speaking, most of the aggro decks that exist in Standard right now are more mid-rangey than the aggro decks that came before, and most of the control decks in Standard right now are more mid-rangey than the control decks that came before. So everything in Standard has kind of diversified, but also trended towards the middle. Mostly, I think that's because there aren't any really good control finishers. But I do also think that Coma actually is probably a card that I don't know what would be super good against it right now. So that might be something that winds up changing that mid-range fest. It doesn't die to Vanishing Verse, which is a pretty big deal. I would not like you to resolve an Expressive Iteration opponent. Orzhov has some, but it doesn't always run a bunch of exile removal. Oftentimes it's like 4 Vanishing Verse. Ooh, this is a tough choice. A very, very, very tough choice. I want every single one of these cards. I'm going to take Escape to the Wild, even though that's probably not the right choice. The Alchemy version's running 4 the flashback ones. Yeah, Sanguine Brushstroke helps with that a lot. A lot of the standard versions haven't been as big into running as many copies. Well, this just became very awkward against this Locust God since I don't actually have any Aether Gusts. Huh. Alright. Well, the hope is... Wait, come to think of it, how do they do that? Oh, it was a Dwarven Mine. Right, because Dwarven Mine is a mountain. Yeah, that's a problem.
I won't forget our time together.
Need to drop deck Aether Gust. Pony, do you want to play a 4-mana Teferi so that I can Mystical Dispute it? Why are we doing this post-combat? What? Oh, wait, no, yeah. Why? Why attempt to combo post-combat? Oh, because if I had a removal spell for the 1/1, then they had to attack the Narset for 4 damage. Okay, I guess that's probably correct. Well, if they have the 3rd creativity, I lose. But that was probably unavoidable. Is Coma relevant in Historic? No, I think that it's much too expensive. I think Coma has a chance to be relevant in Standard, though. I probably should have kept Anger of the Gods in. So, what are we doing here without Aether Gust? Amusingly, if I had taken the first Aether Gust with Nissa, I think I would have been in a fine spot. I could Growth Spiral and hit the Aether Gust. I mean, I guess I can escape to the wilds and probably be more likely to hit an Aether Gust overall anyway. Yowzas. No Aether Gusts, huh? Alright, we got a Growth Spiral into an Aether Gust, and I had to shock so that I would have enough blue mana to do it. But no, that's just dead. Yikes. Alright. I wonder if they sided out the Sage of the Falls? Because I feel like when they creativitied there, if they had hit Sage of the Falls, they would have just lost. But, I don't know. Maybe they just thought they had to try to gamble. That might actually be correct, even. I can't say for certain that it isn't. Is there a world in which Bonecrusher Giant is better off being Anger of the Gods plus Scorching Dragonfires? Probably? Actually, I'm not even convinced it's better off being Anger. It might just be better off being Flame Blessed Bolt. That way some combination of 2 of these kills a creature. I think every other card is still better, but I probably don't mind having that option available to me. Love Gargaroth, but thought they'd be pretty easy to kill in Historic. They're not hard to kill in Historic, unfortunately. I probably should be playing Lanterns against Phoenix Piles, because it makes it so that Gargaroth is a lot harder to kill if Unholy Heat isn't online. But, I don't know. I feel like my list is probably well positioned against Phoenix as it stands. Although I need more testing for that. And that's less because Gargaroth is excellent against Phoenix and more because, like, the combination of all of our removal being good against Phoenix is good against Phoenix. But in the meantime, we have Growth Spiral on 2. And that's probably a good thing. I do think it's going to be pretty hard to resolve Escape to the Wilds against a combo deck like this. So, I'm not terribly excited about our chances in this matchup overall. But at least our interactive spells are relatively efficient. That bit's nice. Would like to draw an untap land here so I don't have to use a treasure to Mystical Dispute. Nope. Alright, well, we do got the Mizzix's Mastery. Please don't use a 2-mana counterspell, leaving up Mystical Dispute. So I'm learning how to play Burn today, and man, the number of times I've missed Electrostatic Blast trigger is astounding. Am I supposed to Mystical Dispute that? They know I have Mystical Dispute now. I don't believe it's correct of me to give my opponent a treasure token. Missing the Electrostatic Blast trigger in paper? Or do you mean online? Wait, isn't it an online only card? Oh, whiffing on it is what you mean. Okay. I'm caught up now. Yes. It is a somewhat easy trigger to whiff on. The sequencing of Electrostatic Blast is really interesting. I wouldn't mind playing a deck with it at some point to try to learn more about it. Yeah. Rude opponent. It's the best looking Teferi I've ever seen. At least post unban. Yowzos, that was not great. Alright, well we get to Mizzix's Mastery for an Escape to the Wilds with Counterspell up, and then we get to Scorching Dragonfire the Teferi at least. Ooh, no Dwarven Mind trigger for our opponent. You'll love to see it. Alright, so I have one Mystical Dispute here, and one Aether Gust. That's probably enough. Alright, Resolve Escape. Now we're starting to get to the point where we're going to be ramping enough that I'll have openings to resolve things. More Mizzix's Mastery. Not ideal. Alright, Shock. Triome, Dragonfire, hold up Growth Spiral, hold up Jwari Disruption. Okie dokie, opponent. Pass to you. You want to try to play something end of turn that I can Aether Gust or Mystical Dispute? Probably not. They say no. Still representing Jwari Disruption, which makes it not a card necessarily off of Escape to the Wilds, but does make it useful. Chandra would be kind of annoying, so I guess I'm not supposed to let that happen. Growth Spiral. 4, 8. So if I kick Mizzix's Mastery, we get 2 Growth Spirals here. I don't think that's particularly worth it. That'll be all 4 Mizzix's Masteries gone. So alternatively, I can cycle Magma Opus, cast it for 4 mana, still have up Commit and Mystical Dispute. So I think I'm supposed to do that. And hope that we hit an untapped land so I can hold up Commit. Kind of in trouble if I whiff on hitting Commit, or if I whiff on hitting untapped land, though? Yikes. Alright, that's a pretty big problem, because now they can play Chandra and down tick for 4. And I'm actually just wicked in trouble against that. And I guess, how many Narsets do I have left? all three, so I can still set up Narset plus memory. Ideally, the opponent upticks. No, opponent too clever for that. Ugh. Okay, well. Drawing Magma Opus, thankfully. Extremely good. Top decks are lovely. Never didn't have it, etc., etc. More Magma Opuses. Sweet. It's almost like we put a lot of gas in this deck. I think I just shock here and hold up Commit plus Mystic Dispute. Woo! Alright. Monogas deck gets there. Alrighty. Presumably opponent decides to be on the play, I would imagine. MS Werewolf decks. We still... Isn't Alchemy like the current de facto top deck, the Gruul Werewolf deck? And I think folks are still playing it in Standard. Not Historic, to be fair, but... Yeah, I don't think the Werewolf decks were likely to be fast enough for Historic compared to other Gruul lists that take a little more advantage of Collected Company. And Embercleave. Embercleave's cool. Alright, well. We have a rule about Growth Spiral, and it's that we're not allowed to mulligan hands with 2 lands and Growth Spiral. So what do you got for us, opponent? Nothing. Alright. I appreciate a nothing. Nothing into shock. Okay, are we playing against blue-red combo again? Because this certainly doesn't look like a Phoenix sort of game plan going on. Mizzix's Mastery, huh? Well, that's not terrible. Trouble is, this isn't really a... If this is another combo deck, it's not really... Target player draws 2 cards. Under no conditions is that allowable, opponent. Alright, Archmage's Charm might still be a combo deck. Sometimes they play those, sometimes they don't. Pathway indicates they're not on the Dwarven. Oh, no! Icky! Gross. I wanted to make land drops deck. Alright, it'll be fine. The opponent won't have a counterspell. We'll play Narset. We'll down-tick Narset. We'll hit Jwari Disruption. Nothing could go wrong. Opponent definitely doesn't have a counterspell in hand. Oh, hey, cool, that wasn't a counterspell. That was extremely bad for me, but it wasn't a counterspell. So we're not making the land drop, is what you're telling me. Oh. Alright, well, I'm probably dead then. Oh no, I guess I'm not, because I have a Narset in play. So they can't Locust God combo me here. But they can just play a control game plan, and that'll be kind of annoying. Creativity for 1. Okay. Sarah's Emissary version. That's gonna be a problem. Flame Blessed Bolt. No, my card advantage.
Commotion.
No, my ability to still make land drops. Difficult, 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 difficult. Opponent successfully named instant, so I can't commit that Emissary. I can't Mastery into Memory. That's not legal. Is this a Grafdigger's Cage meta, or are we just queuing into these? It's definitely not a Grafdigger's Cage meta, because amusingly, Grafdigger's Cage doesn't do anything against creativity. So I can't Mastery into Memory, because Mastery has a weird bit of text that... it's the same reason Cage doesn't show off Memory. You're not actually casting the spell from the graveyard with Mastery, you're exiling it and then casting a copy. So I don't know where the copy is considered to be cast from, actually. I don't think it's cast from exile either. It's just cast onto the stack, but it's definitely not cast from the graveyard. Yowzas! I mean, I don't have a stellar game 1 against this at the best of times, but that's a lot of not a land drops. How do I answer Sarah's Emissary? Because my Aether Gust plan doesn't actually function, which means that I think I'm way less good against this deck than I was against the other one. I just can't ever beat a Sarah's Emissary in play, so I guess my plan just has to be mono, don't let Sarah's Emissary get into play. Which is actually a lot harder because now I have to stop creativity represented for x equals 1, not creativity represented for x equals 2. Okay, I don't want Arastas. Bonecrusher's bad, but maybe playable-ish? Stomp does give us a way to do the last bit of damage with creatures, but I don't actually play creatures, so that's not actually good. I guess I could play like one Bonecrusher and Ceratopses? That also sounds like it's not good. Everything seems like a bad plan. Okay. No, I think it's just 3 Ceratopses and hope that that somehow forces the opponent to have to play an Angel on creature, and then we can answer the Angel with commit, I think is the only real plan. Ceratops effectively costs 5. Yeah, but it has haste, and it's not counterable, which is a pretty big difference. Unfortunately, that's a mulligan. Okay, this is a hand with a functional game plan, sort of. And that game plan is mostly entirely Ceratops. But, you know, Ceratops is a plan. Am I supposed to keep Magma Opus to cycle over Growth Spiral because it actually provides the second green source for Ceratops and Growth Spiral isn't guaranteed to do that? Or is that just too risky? So is it a Drannith Magistrate meta? I don't believe Drannith Magistrate stops it either. It's a Containment Priest meta, if anything. But I think that's mostly a sideboard card against these decks and nothing else. I hate this, but I think I have to just play the Ceratops on 3. Guaranteed. I can't risk not drawing a green source. Well, Mizzix's Mastery is an extremely good draw that rewarded keeping the Magma Opus, at least. That's fun. Okay, commit isn't terrible either. Don't have Aether Gust, don't have Aether Gust, don't have Aether Gust. Oh, alright, well, it's gotta go on top because I don't have another functional plan. I guess I could have put it on the bottom if we hit an untap land, then I get to Mizzix's Mastery and hope that's good enough. Yuck, 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 yuck. Into dispute. Alright. Well, good game. Not a hand I could beat with this mulligan. Not at all. Did you have to be the tap land? Wouldn't even let me Mizzix's Mastery, huh? Sheesh. Okay. Well, alright. They don't have a dispute. That's nice. Can't really do anything into the opponent representing a 3-mana counterspell for a Mizzix's Mastery. I mean, Mystical Dispute isn't a bad draw, but it isn't a useful draw either. I would be happy to have you redraw that Unexpected Windfall, opponent. Oh, did you top deck Mystical Dispute? Alright, that's cute. Well, at least they've discarded a bunch of cards. That's, like, almost okay for me, sort of. Sorcery Speed, Windfall, discarding Creativity, meaning they've got another Creativity, is pretty rough. Alright, well, Magma Opus. Opponent probably Archmage Charms the Magma Opus. Opponent makes the mistake of countering the Mizzix's Mastery. Alright, well then since they sacked the treasures, we are holding on to the Jwari Disruption. Our opponent's now a little more limited on mana, and more blue mana doesn't accomplish anything here for me. Shark for 3. Okay, yeah, that's not good for me. Okay. Ceratops plan! Opponent probably Creativity's here and then we lose. Most likely. Ooh, Narset. That's not me losing the game. That is a problem, but it's not me losing the game yet. Do I need to go at my opponent's face? Four-turn clock with Ceratops. Less if we hit another Ceratops. I lose the game as soon as the opponent ever finds a Creativity. I do think that means I probably have to swing at the Narset, but this Hinterland Harbor was a pretty useless draw, unfortunately.
I have reached my limit.
Alright, that wasn't a white source. Niv Mizzet. Okay. So they actually sideboarded into a much worse plan against us than just leaving in the Angels. But I can't do anything about it, unfortunately. Bummer. So I am dead on board if the opponent decides to attack. We're going to hope they miss that. So far they have not missed that. Alright, I could have left Shifting Ceratops back to block the Niv Mizzet, which maybe is like defendable, but I don't think that involves me winning the game. I mean, I guess this doesn't involve me winning the game either. So, yeah, would have been better. But 'twas not possible. Regardless. Yeah, that was pretty brutal. Opponent's hand lined up extremely well, and the mulligan... I mean, I think that actually made me pretty happy with the decisions that I made, in that Ceratops on 3 was going to win the game if the opponent didn't have the Aether Gust on 2. The rest of that... Not drawing lands sucks. Should have held back with the Ceratops, but we would have lost the game regardless from this spot. The turn that I committed instead of Aether Gusting, I think, might be... I think that might have been wrong, that I might have been supposed to hold the commit out of fear of Angels and wanting to have commit to answer it, but it turned out that specifically the way my opponent drew Mystical Dispute made it actually really good that I had Aether Gust and Mystical Dispute up. Yeah, no, I don't think I got to make many choices that affected that game very much, unfortunately. Take as you play. Ship the hand. Ugh. Alright. I guess we're shipping Scorching Dragonfire and hoping that we're playing against Phoenix, is the idea here. The big advantage of Escape to the Wild, I think, is that it is extremely good against red-black decks. Things that are very potent when you top deck them while empty-handed are the best tool against those lists. Am I willing to trade Jwari Disruption for a treasure token? No, I don't actually think I am. Not when I can make a treasure token instead. Well, alright. Treasuring to Escape to the Wilds does sound like fun. Okay, alright. This sort of worked out. The growth spirals aren't stellar hits, but yeah, what you gonna do? Again with the hard evidence combo decks, huh? Once again, I just kind of have to hope this is the version playing the combo that's interactable. Which it probably is, judging by the Sacred Foundry. The blue-red versions tend not to play any lands that can't cast Archmage's Charm. Ooh. Alright. Should I hold up Jwari Disruption here, or use one of these growth spirals? Oh, I definitely shouldn't use the growth spiral, because I can cycle the Magma Opus if they don't play something that I want to counter. But I am currently dead to creativity, which would be bad. The targeting is a bad sign. The winning the game is a bad sign. Yeah, Bonecrusher, why couldn't you be Scorching Dragonfire? I guess that wouldn't have made a difference. They would have just targeted the treasure token instead. Yep. Okay. One card in the deck. 44? Okay. Good game. Alright. But we are much more favored against this post board. that is nice to have. I believe we decided it was Scorching Dragonfire and 2 Flame Blessed Bolts were ideal. I think I still stand by that. Yeah, the Izzet deck is, I think, overall worse in my opinion. It's a lot easier to interact with. It technically wins the game, but it like can't handle a Narset in play. But at least for the purposes of laddering, it does end games of Magic faster, which if you're just trying to like race to Mythic is reasonable. Dixie play. Oh, this hand can't Growth Spiral on turn 2. That sucks, but okay. This has the feel of a hand that's going to draw more copies of Growth Spiral than it does lands. Maybe it'll prove me wrong. Snow-covered mountain. Okay, interesting. Opponent's off to a start. It is ideal for them. Opponent has Mystical Dispute and debates using it. Okay, Jwari Disruption. Huh. Should I have considered sorcery speeding the Growth Spiral so that I could put a mountain into play off a Growth Spiral and play just Jwari Disruption as a land? That might have been, like, objectively correct. Interesting. I hadn't thought of that before. I think we're just making a Magma Opus token here and waiting a turn to jam the Growth Spiral. Alright, now we get to play 2 Growth Spirals. That's not terrible. Opponent, meanwhile, is just doing everything they want. That's concerning. Growth City Spiral. Growth City Spiral. Yowzas. Not drawing terribly helpful cards currently. Alright, Narset. Opponent Mystical Disputes it, probably. I probably wind up paying for the Mystical Dispute. That probably results in the opponent playing a second Mystical Dispute. No, it doesn't. Okay. So is Shark Typhoon the plan then? Or are they just going to try to combo off? That's a mastery. Yeah, that's a problem. What are we supposed to kill with Flame Blessed Bolt? It plus a Scorching Dragonfire. Oh, opponent. Maybe... I don't know. I guess it's not terrible. It plus a Scorching Dragonfire kills a Sage of the Falls or a Locust God, which I figured was better than trying to combo Stomp with those other things, since it costs 1 extra mana for the same amount of damage. What do we got here, opponent? Upkeep, stop, crack, clue? No, Magma Opus. Yeah, that's a problem. I guess not actually a huge problem, because I do have Mizzix's Masteries of my own. That at least kill that 4/4. Hopefully this is just priority for the clue token. And not that the opponent has Mystical Dispute. Well, that wouldn't be priority for Mystical Dispute, but just hopefully the opponent doesn't have Mystical Dispute, period. Okay. So, ideally, we don't get comboed out. Here is the goal. That's a good start to not getting comboed out. That's a bummer. Makes my Mizzix's Mastery not super useful. But I guess that also... I don't... 3 Magma Opus, no Mizzix's Mastery? Is that what you're implying to me, opponent? Still, do you have the combo opponent in your deck anymore? Because I feel like you need the combo in your deck to win here. Oh, alright, well, I'll jam an Narset. Can't combo me if there's an Narset in play. Activate the Narset. Take, I guess a Narset? I don't know that Mystical Dispute is actually going to be super useful here. I mean, I guess it's not useful. Yeah, I'll take the Narset though. Weird that they're shutting off their own Opus. So they're shutting off Mizzix's Mastery, but it's possible they don't have Mizzix's Mastery to go with their Opuses. It might just be that they just have 3 Opuses, or 4 Opuses. Because the deck does care about putting treasures into play, and that is a way to do that. Not what you want to do at sorcery speed, unfortunately, opponent. Aether Gust is a stellar draw. Aether Gust is a stellar draw. Alright, I think we got there. Awkward times aside. Should I escape to the wilds? Probably. If I don't escape to the wilds this turn, then imagine how hard it'll be to escape to the wilds next turn. And we just shock this. I don't care that I'm losing the Jwari Disruption land. I think more untapped mana is better here. I can Growth Spiral and still have Aether Gust up now. Oh, hey, cool, Aether Gust. That's a good card. Alright, well, let's do 4 damage to the opponent's face, remove a blocker, and a treasure token. Have an Aether Gust up. Also have double Mystical Dispute up. Dovin's Veto. Oh. Okay. Fine, opponent. Jeez. Alright, well, I think we're going to pass and discard this Mizzix's Mastery and probably this Mystical Dispute. Neither of those seem terribly useful right now. But in the meantime, we have a hand with a lot of stuff in it. So I feel like as long as the opponent doesn't cycle a Shark Typhoon for infinity here, I should be okay. We could have gusted it back, then we wouldn't have gust on their turn, and I wanted to be able to gust in case my opponent top decked a 6-mana Chandra. They didn't think that was a Dragonfire that would kill it. What they used on the Elemental token was a Fire Prophecy, and then they discarded a card to Fire Prophecy. So the reason they cast the Fire Prophecy was because they wanted a cycle. That just didn't work out very well with the Narset in play is all. No, opponent was not having a good time with Narset. That is extremely true. I think they lost like 4 or 5 cards to Narset that game. But everybody's been there. Ugh. Again with the really bad Growth Spiral hands, huh? I'm not crazy, right? Mountain is literally the only land in our deck that can't cast Growth Spiral? Yeah, wow. That's been happening a weird percentage of the time. I'm on the draw. I can't throw this away. I probably should, but... But why would I ever not just draw what I need? That plan's an excellent plan, right? Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll hit an untapped blue land and get to Mystical Dispute, the opponent's expressive iteration. But unfortunately, I'm never lucky. Alas. Untapped land representing Mystical Dispute. You're the luckiest person in the world because you get to be you? I agree. I think that frequently as well. One more blue mana here would make jamming Narset with Mystical Dispute back up very easy. I think I still have to do it though, because even if they Mystical Dispute me here, I still have Narset next turn regardless. And that way I get the Mystical Dispute out of their hand. Sorcery speeds the Windfall. There's the land. Alright, a turn late, but we accept.
There are so many mysteries, and the thoughtfulness.
Magma Opus, probably the most useful spell here, so we'll roll with that. Wait, opponent definitely sideboarded in Rest in Peace last time, now that I think about it. That's kind of wild. Okay, so Teferi upticks here to 6. I think I'm okay with that. But I mean, I'm definitely going to Growth Spiral. I mean to say, I think I'm okay not Mystical Disputing that. No, I can't put Jwari Disruption into play. How disappointing. I really wanted to be able to play Escape to the Wilds with Mystical Dispute backup. Oh no. Alright, Narset, downtick. More Magma Opus, I guess? I mean, it's functional. What do I got on the yard? Nothing? Alright, opponent. What kind of opening do you want to give me? Because if I'm being honest, I would love to get to kick a Mizzix's Mastery to get in 2 Magma Opuses back. That is not the downtick the opponent wanted to make. Narset continues her unimpeded rampage. Okay. So what are those getting? Sarah's Emissaries. Opponent sideboarded correctly and named instant. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Instant and sorcery, says the opponent. Yowzers, yowzers, yowzers. I don't know if I have an out here. Don't really have a way to kill these things at all. I could try to race them, but that's not likely to work. That means they play the Sarah's Emissaries in the sideboard, which seems like kind of a wild choice. Protection from instants. Why do you have to be so good? I don't believe I have outs to this. Do. Anything anywhere in the deck? No. Not unless I somehow gave my opponent control of commit. I am surprised to see an opponent who actually boarded into the emissary plan instead of the typical anti-control plan. Because that was actually better against me specifically. It's often worse against a lot of the other control decks that board into more counter spells. But I don't actually have access to effective hard counter spells. So it was indeed the correct choice. Alright. Take the play, keep the growth spiral hand. GG's, Wilson. I was really curious. Was the... So you were on Locust God combo main deck, right? Boarded it out after game 1? Okay. Huh. Is the Sarah's Emissary plan the typical sideboard plan against control decks? Or was that more specific to being against my deck? Because more typically I've seen Nezahals, but I think the Emissary plan actually wound up being better against me. It's easier to just ignore a Nezahal and outvalue it, but can't really ignore Angels. I wonder if I should play Growth Spiral turn 1 there, actually. And then shock the Stomping Ground. Sanctum Weaver. Oh no! Huh. I want to just play Narset. I don't want to give my opponent... I guess I have an Anger of the Gods. I can avoid killing the Sanctum Weaver for 1 turn. Oh, Escape to the Wilds. Solemnity. Oh no! It's not actually... That particular combo isn't a very big deal against us. Because we have Bonecrusher Giants, I think? I could Magma Opus here to kill the Sanctum Weaver, and I do want to deny the opponent having access to, like, 1 billion mana. I could also stomp the Sanctum Weaver. But also, like... I could just let the opponent have stuff and cast Escape to the Wilds. And which of us is winning then, opponent? Which of us is winning then? I don't think I would do that if I didn't have a Narset in play, but I'm not really worried about the Sanctum Weaver while I have a Narset in play, because they can make a bunch of mana, but they can't draw extra cards, which is really the scary thing. Now I think I need to get rid of the Sanctum Weaver. Figured he didn't have rats that could take out the emissaries. Otherwise I'd go for Nezahal and Ulamog. Okay, yeah. The rats are an interesting point. I hadn't considered it how that usually or how that could influence which sideboard post-game threat to go for. Which I'm not happy about, because that actually means I'm probably going to play against more emissaries, and I still don't have a great solution to that, but... I guess mass unsummon would be the most likely thing. Alright, so we have to get 20 power onto the board here. Which isn't impossible. Yeah, Narset continues to be a house, huh? 3 Bonecrushers to try to break through here. Which means putting 20 power onto the board and hoping the opponent doesn't board wipe me before then. Boop. 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 Decline. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, also I guess we could commit the Solemnity if we have 9 creatures on board. That's also an option. We kind of have a lot of outs here, actually. What? Oh, I thought I was grabbing a land. What are we getting rid of? Probably the duplicate Arasta. Oh yes, the Arasta is main deck. I am that mean to Phoenix. Gideon's Intervention, which could name Commit or Stomp. Oh, or they could just name Escape. Ugin. Okay, yeah, fair enough. That's not unreasonable. Alright, I like to play Escape to the Wilds. Land drop. Land drop. I would like to probably stomp my opponent's face here. Go to combat, swing. If this is confusing, Stomp has a... I should actually explain this whole clause. Or rather, the entire game that's happening, shouldn't I? I'm kind of just being lazy. So the opponent's running an enchantment combo deck that's all about drawing cards every time they cast an enchantment. That half of their deck is getting shut off because Narset is stopping them from drawing cards. They have a combo in their deck that is, they can assemble 9 lives that stops them from taking damage, and instead they get counters put on 9 lives. They lose the game if 9 lives leaves the battlefield, but they have another card that stops counters from getting put on 9 lives, so it just prevents all damage forever. But Bonecrusher Stomp says damage can't be prevented. So that's why nothing has been happening, and now we win. You can name Stomp with Gideon's Intervention, yes. They didn't know because they hadn't seen the Bonecrushers before then, so they were naming Ugin, because Ugin just comes down and removes 9 lives and wins the game. And I have, in fact, played Temur decks that play Ugin before, so it's a reasonable thing to name. But even if they had named Stomp, I had commit to answer the Gideon's Intervention. Can't name Stomp. There's no card named Stomp. You're right that there's no card named Stomp, but I think you can still name Stomp. Yeah, Questing Beast is the other card that answers them. Anything that can bounce 9 lives or exile it through hexproof. Anything that stops damage from being prevented. And then Ugin. Yeah. Retrieve socks. Oh, are you still over there, buddy? Oh, sorry, did that wake you up? Alright, well, we definitely want Aether Gusts. That seems good. Then what else? Not Arastas, that much is for sure. I probably do want all the board wipes and removal spells I can get. What am I supposed to cut when all my cards seem good? I'm gonna pretend that was fine. I wonder if I actually managed to submit that with 0 seconds left or not. When you're getting a foot-controlled mouse so you can pet socks with both hands? Oh, I'm not like a gamer. I don't need hands to play the thing that I'm playing. Plays 3 Bonecrusher, draws all 3 against a protected 9 lives, says he's never lucky. Hey, I drew 50 cards that game. I could have drawn 4 Bonecrushers in my deck that's playing 3 Bonecrushers, and that still would have been likely. Okay, why not? Karate chop right to the neck, huh, Sox? Oh man, I had just brushed you and you're already once again shedding everywhere, huh? Alright. Fair play. No, land. What? Land? Okay, there we go. I did submit a 60-card deck. That's true. We might not know what kind of 60-card deck it is, but it is a 60-card deck. Oh, we drew an Aether Gust, actually, so we do know exactly what kind of 60-card deck, huh? I mean, I don't care about that because I have a Narset, but I do sort of care about that because it punches Narset. Yeah, I'm probably supposed to Aether Gust that. There's always a risk. If you redeem the retrieve socks, it's entirely possible that socks might just decide, nah, that was all you get. It's a harsh world we live in. But, as in most things, cats dictate pretty much all of it. In fact, now the Sox winds up even further away, because he wants out. Honestly, I'm surprised I haven't gotten shut down for running a gambling stream yet. Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Understandable opponent, but nah. Alright, well, can't really play Narset. I guess I could downtick Narset and then just hardcast Bonecrusher to block the Sithis. I don't think I need to do that, but I do think that I want to play the Bonecrusher to block the Sithis here. I'm still going to avoid downticking the Narset, because I don't want the opponent to, like, play some Baffling End on Bonecrusher or something. Gideon's Intervention. Okay, what are we naming? Escape to the Wilds? Stomp. Turns out you can name Stomp. Luckily I got Commit. Alright, we'll put Magma Opus in hand. Don't remember ever seeing Ugin in a historic deck. I played Ugin... Wait, I played Ugin in the last 2 historic decks that I played, both of which happen to be Temur. That card definitely does see play. Enchantress's Presence. Oh, yeah, Narset's really good against that, though. Could anger the gods here. Probably not supposed to do that. Oh, Mizzix is a mastery. That sounds fun. Alright, well, Forest. I don't have another land drop, you're saying? Yeah, it's a bummer. Alright, well, I think think I attack my opponent's base, because they are currently capable of losing life. And I can't play a Stomp, but I can play a Bonecrusher. Did Ugin work? In the decks that I put it in, did it work? Yeah, kind of. I think it worked better in the deck with Settle the Wilds, since that deck actually had a tutor package for Ugin that was kind of more reliable than I was expecting. Banishing Light. Oh no! My Narset. Opponent probably should have waited a turn before, because I had this other Narset. So, like, that didn't accomplish a ton. Yeah. Alright. Fair.